2026 is already a year that silver investors will not forget anytime soon. At the end of January, silver exploded in a historic mix of panic and euphoria, reaching a new all-time high of around $120 per ounce at times. At that moment, many people thought, that's it, nothing can stop silver anymore. But exactly after that, the brutal reality check came. Already at the end of January and in February, a large part of this explosive move was sold off again. And just when the market seemed to be stabilized a little, the next sharp pullback followed in mid-March. And this exact combination of a parabolic rise, a sharp crash and another sell-off is what completely destroys investors psychologically. This is not a clean bull market that simply moves upward in a straight line. This is a market in a state of emergency. A market that creates maximum euphoria, then fear, then hope, and then panic again. So the crucial question we have to ask ourselves today is, are we looking at the final bursting of a massive commodity bubble? Or is this pullback maybe the last contrarian buying opportunity before silver moves into completely new galaxies? Today we will ignore all the emotional noise and focus only on the hard facts and the historical cycle theory that shows us exactly where we are right now. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new updates in this critical phase. And let's get started. To understand the current situation, we need to stay calm and stop looking only at the raw dollar price. Instead, we are going to look at the chart that changes everything, the ratio of silver to the S&P 500. While stock markets measured in inflated dollars are still reaching new all-time highs, something is happening behind the scenes that almost every retail investor is completely missing right now. Look at this. Today, you only need about 90 ounces of silver to buy the entire S&P 500. For comparison, in 2025 the average was still around 150 ounces. And in 2024 it was almost 200 ounces. This is an extremely powerful signal. And we are in the early days of a huge rotation out of paper assets into real hard assets. We saw a very similar pattern in 2002. Back then it triggered a 9-year bull market in precious metals. The real driver behind this is negative real interest rates. The official inflation rate is slowly moving above the yields of US government bonds. And that is exactly the fuel silver needs. If we follow this historical 3-year pattern, the phase until end of 2026 could even outperform the rally from 2009 to 2011. Now let's get to the point that probably interests you the most. Where is silver going next? If we use historical rotation cycles as a benchmark, it almost becomes scary. We have to ask ourselves, is silver finished? Or are we currently seeing the necessary cleansing process that shakes the weak hands out of the market? Even if the S&P 500 were to fall back to its 2025 low at around 4,800 points, silver could easily reach a new high of $134 purely through relative valuation. But if the stock market stays stable at around 7,000 points driven by the Fed's money printer, which by the way has been expanding its balance sheet again for 8 weeks in a row, then we are looking at price targets from my perspective of $194 per ounce. And this is not fantasy, guys. This is the data based on hard facts. Jerome Powell and the Fed are trapped in a brutal situation. On the one hand, inflation is stuck far above the target. On the other hand, the real economy is breaking under the weight of high interest rates. Anyone who does not hold physical gold or silver is simply not diversified for a scenario like the one we saw between 2000 and 2012. Our financial system is standing on shaky ground, and silver is the insurance you need before the house starts burning. Now let's get to the really important part, the psychological levels in the chart and the secret US program. So why is silver actually not falling below the $70 level, even though there would be so many reasons for a correction? This is where Project Vault comes in. And this is a bombshell the mainstream media is completely ignoring. In November 2025, silver was officially added to the US list of critical minerals. The United States liquidated its strategic silver reserves decades ago. And now they're realizing that without silver they have no chance against China in the defense industry and high-tech sector. Project Vault is a $12 billion program that creates a kind of a price floor. The government acts as a buyer when the market price falls below a certain level. And we can already see clear traces of this. Hecla Mining achieved a realized price last quarter that was far above the spot price. On top of that, we are seeing insider buying by politicians and the construction of new smelters in cooperation with the Pentagon. These are no coincidences. This is a coordinated action to secure resources. While the paper market is burning and Wall Street algorithms are liquidating billions, the physical metal is being absorbed in the background. In China, silver imports reached an all-time high in March 2026. 10 times the seasonal average. We are moving away from book money and toward real physical substance. And once these $12 billion fully enter the market, today's $70 floor will very quickly become a distant memory in the historic books. So how am I positioning myself for the next wave? For me, one thing is clear. The foundation must always be physical metal. It is outside the financial system and protects you from meltdown of fiat currencies. But if we talk about returns, then we have to talk about the leverage toy, mining stocks. I recommend investing not too much in these because they remain speculative. But the potential is huge. In recent years, silver has risen massively, while many mining stocks are still lagging behind. There is a massive gap here. I took a closer look at 3 stocks for you: Pan American Silver, Silvercorp and the Wheaton Precious Metals. Especially Pan American Silver stands out with strong upside potential, both according to fair value estimates and analysts. Of course, there are also dozens of other exciting stocks. Feel free to write in the comments if you want a video about silver stocks that I currently find interesting. But be careful, do not blindly buy everything that gets hyped on YouTube. Stocks like Fortuna Mining or Discovery Silver are also interesting, but you need nerves of steel. The plan is simple. I use the next 2 months to build positions during bullbacks. What we are seeing here is not an organic sell-off, it is a mechanical meltdown caused by algorithms triggering momentum signals. And that is the opportunity to shake out weekends and buy at lower prices. Be patient and buy weakness when everyone else is panicking. So we are in a phase of extremely high volatility, but the fundamental data remains incredibly bullish. The sharp crash from the highs is painful but necessary. We have a chronic supply deficit, exploding industrial demand from solar panels and electric vehicles, and the US government that is hoarding silver as a strategic resource. Anyone who stays calm now and acts against the crowd is positioning themselves for real long-term wealth. Silver is not primarily a financial asset like gold. It is an essential industrial commodity. Around 60% of demand comes from industry. That is the backbone of our modern world. I hope you learned something today. Make sure to leave a sub, and here you can find our last video and see which 5 software stocks currently look very interesting. Enjoy the video, and with that, ciao.